Welcome to ZKast, everybody. I'm Zias Caravella from ZK Research, and I'm here for another one of my thought leadership series. Before I get going, though, I do want to thank eWeek, my media partner. All ZKasts are done in conjunction with the eWeek eSpeaks program. Today, I'm joined by Dhwani Soni, who's VP of Product Management Design and Research for 8x8. Dhwani, why don't you say hi and tell us what you do at 8x8?
Hi, Zias. Thank you for having me today. It's a great pleasure to be here talking to you. And just a little bit background about myself. I've been with 8x8 almost close to 2 years now, leading the design and the research teams here, working towards the apps program from product management side in the past year. And before this, I was leading design at another security and identity company. So I've always been in enterprise, and I think that's where my flavor of being driving very customer-centric designs, deliver experiences that matter to the customer, even though you're in a very, very strong technological company. I think that's where my flavor, I bring the experiences to that.
Well, 8x8's had a tremendous amount of innovation over the last couple of years, so you're certainly doing your job there.
Appreciate that.
Now, you guys had a pretty interesting announcement at Enterprise Connect come out recently. But before we get to that, though, tell me what you're seeing from your customer base as far as what the state of work is like. Are people going back to the office? Are they not? What's going on out there?
Well, few things here. So pandemic and hybrid work started pushing people to more cloud, right? And then they're starting to hire more smarter people, digital savvy people, but they're not giving the right tools to help them excel in their jobs. Again, if you look at the user base, that's divided between now more tech savvy. And then there's still people who are still transitioning from traditional telephony heavy roles to embrace more collaboration tools. Now, I was looking at some statistics here, and then there was like about 57% of employees do not believe that the companies are enabling them to do the work in the most effective way, right? So you bring smart people, but you don't give them the right tools. Whereas there are about 87 employees that sincerely want to provide the best customer service, but again, they don't have the right tools. They have tools, but they're disparate around all their ecosystem. Now, how do you do that? We need to meet the users in the play field. I mean, their choice of device, their choice of tools, their choice of integrations, right? And forcing never works. I mean, they will always find workarounds to drive their own productivity with official tools or unofficial tools. That's always going to be there.
Yeah, so it's interesting that we move people home, right? We're going hybrid. We're increasing our dependency more on collaboration tools. But that's created a number of new challenges in the workplace. I think I read somewhere once that users spend about 40% of the time simply just managing work, trying to make their tools fit into their work style. And what are some of the big challenges your customers are telling you with the current tools they have?
Well, we have been researching very closely with the customers, and we are hearing that they need to switch context a lot, right? So traditionally there were some tools that were only available from contact centers features, right? And then as the licenses became more expensive, people started going to UC companies to get more UC-centric features for the customers, for the users, sorry. But what's happening is now those features from traditionally contact center are now being adapted, hacked, put together to provide that UC experience that the user needs today. And that's not the best way, right? So the traditional UC companies are getting into partnerships with contact center companies to help provide the end-to-end use cases to the customers. But what customers don't realize today is that it takes a few years to integrate the backends and provide that seamless experience that supports the engagement as well as the productivity for the end user. And now I'll give you an example here. Like, imagine you're a receptionist and you need to transfer a call, but you cannot find the right person in the directory because the directory only supports a limited number of contacts there. So now imagine what a receptionist would need to do if they had 1,000 employees and they could only have limited people, and to go through that transfer, they need to first open another software, try a few chat messages with 5-6 people to see just who's available, and then make the transfer. Now, if only there was a company who could provide all company contacts in one directory with integrated presence across UC and CC queues, enable transfers at one click. Now, how would that life of the receptionist be? I'm pretty sure she'll be sipping coffee and with a feet put out on the table.
Yeah, well, before we get into that, though, You recently announced something called your XCAS vision or architecture to address some of the other challenges that we talked about. Can you walk us through what XCAS is and how it's different from some of the other UCAS/CCAS offerings we see?
Yeah. So think about XCAS being the front end bridge or the experience that brings together traditional CC and traditionally UC features together, right? So I believe, like as a design leader, I believe that the experience is what we should be selling, right? Your plumbing could be the best in the world, but that's not what you expose to the users. You bring in the right things at the right moments for the end user to just grasp. And that's what drives the delight. That's what drives the efficiency, productivity, and engagement. And that's what XCAS provides.
All right. Now, how does that differ, though? Because every UC vendor now tells me they have a CC product, right? There's lots of partners, things like that. How does that differ from that model where two companies partner together?
I mean, one, it takes a long time for them to have an integrated platform. That is something that 8x8 has been working at for last 10 years. So we are almost there for most of the things. Think about when somebody buys a curated composed experience. Right now, presence from contact center queues needs to be shown to a directory, which is a company-wide directory, say 1,000+ employees, not just limited number. Then you need unified administration. So you cannot have a different administration for UC user groups and a different one for CC. As you deploy a license, which is say XCAS, you need unified administration. Then comes reporting. What about reporting? Traditionally, those things like QMNSA would be on, or interaction analytics would be on a CC queue. But if you were to start bringing those on use cases that are now at this hybrid role blurring area and start showing the curated analytics from both the sides, that's what XCAS helps you do.
Okay, now I understand that. And I talked about this at the opening, but at Enterprise Connect, which just happened, you announced your first XCAS service, if you will, called Frontdesk. Can you tell us what Frontdesk is, who it's meant for, what it does?
Yeah, sure. So Frontdesk is the first in the series of XCAS composed use cases, right? So we are trying to enable every employee role in a customer base with the right tools for their jobs. Now, Frontdesk combines the DNA from unified communications and contact center in a tailored user interface that's built to optimize the handling of high volume call transfers in the most user-friendly and productive way possible. Now, Frontdesk is quite unique compared to what our competitors have today. We're doing today with Frontdesk what these guys have been trying to deliver for years now. Now, the best way for me to talk about is to show you guys. All right, now, like you saw, it is delivered straight from 8x8 Work app, right? And that enables our customers to locate their front desk anywhere. Living room, kitchen desk, don't care, right? So you have to deploy no software. It is provisioned directly into your application and still ensures highly personalized engagement. It comes with robust queuing. Receptionists can handle a multitude of calls. We are so proud that Frontdesk was shortlisted for the Best of Enterprise Connect in the overall category. it is an incredible validation of the power of XCAS and also the work of a product team that was put into this project.
Now, one would think that with the big move to work from home, the receptionist role would be declining. Now, you recently conducted some research and found that wasn't the case, correct? That is one of the most sought after jobs.
Yeah, I mean, think about now. You don't need somebody in office space, right? So you could be anywhere. For example, this person could be sitting in China and taking calls. What if you need somebody around the clock? You could have different, or you could switch the job roles of the front desk and keep it always on and switch them every 6 hours. We have capabilities from our product right to enable that. So you're done with your 6 to 8 hours of job, pass it on to the next in the time zone, and keep going. And I don't think the roles are diminishing, though we are work from home, but the tools need to adapt to keep that enablement and engagement, because people are still coming to the companies in terms of they need vendors, right? So the work still goes on, and they need one entry point to that company, and that's the front desk employee.
Yeah, the thing I liked about the announcement was I talked to all the UC and CC vendors in the space, and they all have integrated platforms. But whenever I ask what's the value of bringing UC and CC together, generally I get there's some sort of purchasing benefit, which obviously there is. But from a functionality standpoint, very few vendors can actually point to a use case where the two together make some sense. And to me, that was one of the meaningful things about Frontdesk is it actually did that. Now, there are other roles that require both UC and CC. So Frontdesk is your first XCAS announcement. Can you give us a little bit of vision here and look in your crystal ball and tell us where you go next with it?
Ooh, you want the juice here, huh? Well, without giving outright what we're working on, but yes, I would say that we are obsessively innovating for the future of work. And like I mentioned, there's so many different roles that are coming up, which are like at the blur of these UC and traditionally CC capabilities. I mean, you can look at so many. There is even in sales. Let's talk about that. 37 different sales personas, right? You look at insurance as an industry. There are wide range of roles and use cases and workflows that run in insurance. There are roles which have been traditionally traditionally telephony driven. But then as the newer generation, millennials, Gen Xers come into work, they're getting more, they don't want to talk, they want to collaborate more. And then obviously close the deal with a meeting or a call, which I understand. But there are so many different roles that we're looking at, and we're at this cusp of figuring out, what would be the best way to enable that work for them, right? For their role, for their communication needs. And that's where we are. We've been looking at a gamut of these blurring roles and responsibilities across all communication needs. And that's where we're driving towards from XCAS standpoint.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the telephony part of it too, because there's a lot of chatter in the industry that telephony's dead, calling's going away, the phone's dead, things like that. But from what I've seen, there are more and more telephony-heavy workloads, depending on the industry you're in, and there's still a lot of innovation going there. Is this something you're seeing as well?
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't think they're dying. I think it's getting, amalgamated is what I would say, right? So what used to be only traditionally telephony-driven was telephony-driven because there weren't digital channels at that time. Now you have that, right? So sometimes a chat message or a text message is faster over different tools versus a call at somebody's odd night hours. And say, for example, this receptionist is in China and this message needs to be dropped in, say, another time zone, which is a late night for them. You could quickly do that and close the loop when they wake up, and it'll be done. So I don't think telephony is dying, but I think we are getting at a point where communication is growing in terms of interaction via different digital channels. And that's where we should start thinking about, because people are different people are coming to work, from millennials and Gen Xers and traditionally telephony people who are also iPhone users, Android users, right? So it's not that they are not using digital channels in their normal life. And that's where my background about saying that, drive customer centric, even if you're in an enterprise heavy world. That's where I would say, sure, telephony is here to stay, but it'll get sprinkled with all these digital channels to get work done faster.
All right, Ronnie, I think that kind of brings us to the end of our time here. I want to thank you for your time and telling us about Frontdesk. That seems to be a really cool product. Looking forward to see where you go next with it, though. And congratulations on being a Best of Enterprise Connect finalist.
Thank you.
That certainly is validation of the product. So unless there's anything else you want to add, I'll go ahead and wrap up.
No, I'm great. I look forward to being back when the next one is out and chatting with you again. But yeah, thank you so much for having me today. Appreciate your time.
I look forward to that as well. So on behalf of Dhwani Soni, VP of Product and Innovation at 8x8, I'm Zias Caravallo from ZK Research. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to click to subscribe.